can't see it, but there's a 30 to 70 foot drop on the right. So that's why I'm trying to be real careful, because it's real slippery in this mud. When I stop, I'll show you how caked my tires are. You can see my tracks from when I came in a couple hours ago, because no one else has been out here. I didn't see anybody. This is Rocky Park Road up near Flagstaff on the I-17, if you're wondering. Heading east. I'll see if I can find the Forest Road number, because there's another one. It branches right off the highway where you can go to a campground, heading back south, or head kind of east down this road. Where there's nothing, and it goes back for miles and miles and miles. The good thing is, though, I've noticed this road is beat down, compacted really well. So even if the first inch or two of mud is really muddy and slippery, you'll never like sink down more than that. I've seen guys come back here in 1-tons that were just fine for the most part. One guy did come back here with a trailer with 2 UTVs, and he couldn't get the trailer out. He had to come back for it after it dried. He couldn't make it up this hill, the one that I just went up. Luckily there's an area where he could leave it, where it wasn't in the way. And hell, I think that was just last year. Gosh, I don't know, I think 5 miles south on I-17 from Schnebley Hill, which is a pretty famous trail. You can go from the I-17 right down into Sedona on it, or come up it. I took this Bronco Sport up it, which was awesome. And I didn't get stuck once. Although I will say, the very top of the hill from the lookout, heading down the trail, the first 300 meters is have the biggest boulders. So I would say, if you're not sure if you're going to make it, start from the top. And if you can't, once you've gotten past that first 300 meters, it's easier from there, clearance wise. And I did that in a bone stock Bronco Sport Heritage Limited, so basically a Badlands with the optional Falcon tires. And that was before I put the air suspension on. There you can see it kind of PSI bumping around, changing as it bumps around. I eventually will get a height sensors on this, so it can tell exactly the change in height instead of just the change in pressure as I drive around. But this is enough for now on a manual system. For me at least. But it doesn't have the cool presets and stuff. It's hard to tell because it changed around so much, but I am riding at stock height right now. Here, I'll show in a second when I air it up. Here's I-17. Because it is a manual system, basically what I'll do is, after I've messed with the height going off-road, as soon as I can, I find a nice flat area and I'll readjust it to make sure that I'm at the right settings. Because, see, I was messing with it while I was driving up here, and it's not quite even. So, like, that's my tank pressure, 148. I have a sensor where it stops once it gets to 150. Really, this reads as 155, and it starts up at 125 psi, which is like 130 or whatever. And so basically what I need to do is take my controller right here, and so I will get those even and get these about 75. And now this, the one downside, because this is just a Chinese copy of the, I think it was called, it's the AccuAir VR4 or VE4 or something. This is basically a clone of that. The machining is not as good. So like right now, if I were to go up with all of them and down with all of them, you can see how like this one has more air than this one. The channels aren't airtight, so like whenever it airs up, if I do all four of them, this is actually getting more air, the front left than the front right. So that's something you have to deal with if you're going with the cheaper ones. But that Chinese clone is $150, whereas the actual AccuAir one that I will have to get eventually is like $550. So those are both before tax. But hopefully that gave you all an idea of what it's like riding in here with the air suspension. It's like normal, except I can go up and down.